I have a secret. I can hear the thoughts of everyone who doesn't love me. The night before the wedding, I was in my white wedding gown, waiting for my groom, Grant, my heart brimming with joy. He pushed the door open, his eyes full of tenderness. But then I heard a voice, crystal clear. If Vivian shows up tomorrow to steal me away, will dress shoes be a pain to run in? The smile on my lips froze, inch by inch. The next day, I boarded a flight to a foreign country. Later I heard that the society wedding of the decade had turned into the city's biggest joke. Both bride and groom had fled. Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening from. Sophie, this gown is gorgeous. Grant stepped in, his gaze sweeping over me, filled with awe and softness. He's the man I've loved for 10 years. From high school uniforms to a wedding gown, we were the golden couple everyone envied, a match made in heaven. Tomorrow, I was going to marry him. I lifted my skirt and walked toward him, happiness spilling over in my heart. Stunning, but Vivian could never pull it off. A foreign voice exploded in my head. I stopped mid-step, staring at Grant in bewilderment. He was gently adjusting my veil, murmuring, "What's wrong? Are you too tired?" The voice was still his familiar one. But the voice in my mind, whose was it? If she comes tomorrow to crash the wedding, these leather soles are going to slow me down. It rang out again, tinged with amused irritation. All the blood in my body seemed to rush to my head at once, then freeze. This ability appeared on my 18th birthday. I can hear every thought of people who don't love me. At first I thought it was a hallucination, that I was losing my mind. Until my best friend linked arms with me, saying aloud, "Sophie, that dress looks amazing on you," while I heard, "So tacky, perfect backdrop for me." I never contacted her again after that day. Gradually I grew used to the surrounding sea. A cacophony of malice and calculation. And I learned to treasure the silence found beside those who truly love me. My parents, my friends, and Grant, the man I've loved for 10 years. For 10 years, not a single stray murmur reached me when I was with him. I believed he was the one who loved me most in this world. I believed my world could finally stay quiet forever. But on the eve of our wedding, standing before him in the gown I wore for him, I heard his inner voice. So clear, so piercing. "Vivian, Vivian." The white moonlight hidden in his heart, the woman who'd gone abroad 3 years ago. I'd always thought she was history. Grant noticed my sudden pallor, frowning as he pressed a hand to my forehead. "Sophie, you're pale. Are you ill?" His palm was warm, his tone as caring as ever. "Hope she's not sick, anything that messes up tomorrow would be a pain." "Whatever, get the ceremony done, at least I'll have given her that." Looking at my ashen reflection in his deep eyes, like a wretched clown, I suddenly laughed. Laughed until tears nearly fell. So it was just that. 10 years of feelings, nothing more than a box to tick. I gently pushed his hand away, my voice eerily calm. "Grant, do you love me?" He blinked, then chuckled as though I'd asked something foolish. "Silly, why would I marry you if I didn't? Love? Impossible. The only woman I've ever loved is Vivian." Listening to the cruelest truth inside him felt as if a fist clenched my heart so tightly I couldn't breathe. I drew a sharp breath, nails digging into my palms until pain lanced through. "All right," I said. "I'm just a bit tense. Go on home, I need a moment alone." Grant suspected nothing, he tapped the tip of my nose fondly. "Okay, my little bride, don't overthink. I'll pick you up tomorrow. Better hurry, Vivian's flight lands soon, I have to meet her." He turned to leave, his steps carrying an almost imperceptible lightness. The instant the door shut, my legs gave out and I collapsed onto the cold floor. Ears burst free, beyond containment. I peeled off the costly gown as if shedding a false skin. Then I took out my phone and booked the earliest ticket to Paris. "Grant, you worried running would be inconvenient tomorrow? No problem. I'll help you. This one-woman show ends now." Chapter 2, When the plane pierced the clouds, dawn was just breaking. According to plan, Grant's motorcade should have been downstairs at my house right then. My phone had exploded with calls. From my parents, the bridesmaids, from Grant. Watching his name flash hysterically across the screen felt like the ultimate irony. I didn't answer, I powered the phone off. Resting my forehead against the window, I watched the clouds roll beneath us, and my mind drifted back 10 years. Grant and I met in college. He was the darling of the heavens, student body president, the center of every crowd. I was just a quiet figure in a library corner. I crushed on him, hard, and everyone knew. They all laughed, saying I was overreaching, a toad hankering after swan meat. I, too, believed a galaxy spanned between us. Until the day a few thugs cornered me in an alley. He appeared like a divine soldier, pristine white shirt gleaming as he stepped before me. That evening he took a hopeless beating for me, his lip split and bleeding. I sobbed while dabbing medicine on him. He only smiled and said, "Sophie, be my girlfriend." I froze, convinced I was dreaming. Only later did I learn it was the day after Vivian had rejected his confession. Drunk out of his mind, he'd told a friend he would chase the girl everyone knew adored him. Everyone said I was a spare tire, a stand-in. I refused to believe it. Because after my gift surfaced, I'd savored 7 whole years of silence beside him. I stubbornly concluded he loved me, he just needed time to forget Vivian. 7 years should be enough. He proposed, gifting me a dazzling engagement gala. He said, "Sophie, thank you for staying by my side." I melted, misty-eyed, thinking why perseverance had finally paid off. Now I realize what he'd thanked, how dutifully this stand-in had done her job. The plane touched down in Paris. When I switched my phone back on, the scandal of the society wedding of the decade flooded every feed. Hashtag Harrington heir and bride flee, society wedding of decade turns citywide punchline hashtag groom missing. Bride incommunicado hashtag photos showed the venue packed with guests waiting awkwardly for principals who never arrived. There was even a candid of Grant, standing on an empty altar, face livid, eyes a thunderhead that looked ready to devour everything. Staring at that picture, I felt no vindictive thrill, only bottomless sorrow. I swiped the news away and texted my parents. "Dad, Mom, I'm fine. Don't worry. I need some time alone, I'll be back later." Then I blocked every avenue to Grant. Phone, WhatsApp, everything. As of today, the man I loved for 10 years and I are strangers. I rented a tiny attic apartment in Paris and found work at an art gallery, the most ordinary job. I began learning to live alone. To eat alone, to roam museums alone, to watch the sunset over the Seine by myself. Without Grant, my world didn't collapse. Only sometimes, in the dead of night, did the hollow ache in my chest jolt me awake. I thought I would go on living quietly like this. Until that day, when I saw a figure both familiar and foreign at the gallery door. Chapter 3, it was Grant. He had lost weight and looked haggard. A blue-black stubble shadowed his jaw, and the expensive suit flapped, wind-tossed, around him. He stood beneath the plane tree across from the gallery, motionless, staring straight at me. His eyes held emotions I couldn't read. I only heard the cold, violent voice inside his head. "Sophie, you really are capable. You slipped away without a word and left me standing there like an idiot. Why on earth? Just because I didn't pick you up?" I gave a cold laugh inside. So, in his eyes, the reason I fled our wedding was he hadn't shown up for the bridal pickup. How ridiculous. I ignored him and turned to go back into the gallery. He rushed over in one stride and clamped his fingers around my wrist. "Sophie." His voice was hoarse, fury barely leashed. "You owe me an explanation." I tried to fling him off, but he only tightened his grip until my wrist throbbed. "Explain? How am I supposed to explain? Tell her I went to find Vivian? Tell her I never loved her? When you're done throwing your tantrum you'll come home with me. Stop embarrassing us here. Let go." I stared at him, icy and deliberate, every word separate. "I won't." He glared back, eyes bloodshot. "Come home with me and we'll pretend none of this happened. We can hold the wedding again." Go back? What a joke, I thought. "Grant, what do you take me for? Some pet you can whistle for and then dismiss?" Looking at him suddenly exhausted me. "Grant," I said calmly, "we're finished." "What do you mean, finished?" He flared like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. "If I don't agree, it will never be over." This woman's nerve is growing, she actually dares to say it's over? I searched this hard to find her, there's no way I'll let her walk away. I couldn't be bothered arguing. I raised my hand to call security. Just then a mild male voice cut in. "Sir, you're hurting her." I turned and saw a tall man in a white lab coat and gold-rimmed glasses. He carried a medical bag. It was Shane from across the street. He had treated me a few days earlier when a bout of flu hit. Grant's gaze stabbed toward him like a blade. Who is this guy? A doctor? When did Sophie get involved with someone like him? Did she abandon the wedding for this man? Ignoring Grant's hostility, Shane looked at me gently and asked, "Sterling, are you all right?" I shook my head and gave him a grateful smile. That smile, to Grant, was a deliberate provocation. He yanked me behind him like a lion defending his territory and glared at Shane. "Who are you?" "I'm Speaking to my fiancé, who invited you to interrupt." "Fiancé?" I almost laughed out loud. Shane adjusted his glasses and answered evenly. I saw the lady was distressed. "Sir, whatever you need to say, you might try saying it without manhandling her. This man, Instinctively I reached to hear Shane's thoughts. There was only silence. Nothing at all. Just the way it had been beside Grant years ago. My heart missed a beat. Chapter 4, A Dead Hush. Shane's world was pure, untroubled quiet, no static, no whispers. I knew better than anyone what that meant. It meant he bore me no malice. It might even mean I didn't dare finish the thought. I stared at Shane, pulse racing. Grant sensed my distraction, the blaze in his eyes flared hotter. Who's this pretty boy? Sophie dares to gape at another man right in front of me? Has she forgotten whose woman she is? He squeezed my wrist so hard I felt bone grind. Sophie, what are you looking at? Come home with me. I'm not going. I snapped back to myself and tore free. Grant, I told you, we're done. Say that again. We are done. I shouted. I will not go back, not ever. Passers-by stopped and stared, whispering. Grant's complexion turned livid. He had probably never been so publicly humiliated in his life. Fine. Have it your way. Sophie, just you wait. He shot me a venomous glare, gave Shane one last look, then strode off, disappearing around the corner. Only when his back vanished did my taut muscles slacken. Thank you, Shane, I said, heartfelt. He smiled gently, eyes curving like moonlight cradled in his lashes. It was nothing. Are you okay? His gaze fell on the red mark circling my wrist. It's fine, I lied, tucking my hand into my sleeve. If you don't mind, come to my practice across the street and let me put on some ointment so it won't scar. His invitation was natural, considerate. I hesitated, then nodded. His clinic, opposite the gallery, was small but immaculate. The air carried the faint mingled SCE. NT of disinfectant and herbs. He seated me, opened his medical kit, and bent to treat the angry welts. His fingers were long, knuckles pronounced, touch light as a feather. Cool ointment replaced the burning sting at once. We were close enough for me to smell clean soap on his skin. My heart began its treacherous pounding again. I couldn't help testing his thoughts once more. Still, total silence. The discovery delighted and terrified me. Delighted because, in this foreign city, I had finally met someone quiet. Terrified because I feared the quiet might be as temporary as it had been with Grant. All done. He fixed a square of gauze over the injury and lifted his head to find my complicated gaze on him. He paused, then smiled. Still thinking about earlier? I shook my head, then nodded. He gave an understanding chuckle and handed me a cup of warm water. Matters of the heart aren't my place to judge, but Sterling, you're a good person, you deserve someone better. His voice was gentle spring wind, smoothing every crease inside me. Looking at him, I blurted, Shane, are you Chinese? He nodded. I'm here on a medical exchange. I'll head home in a few months. In a few months, he would leave. The small spark inside me was doused. Of course, we were ships passing in the night. He had his road, I had my bridge. We belonged to different worlds. Chapter 5. After that day Shane and I gradually grew familiar. He would drop by the gallery at lunch, sometimes bringing a sandwich he had made himself, sometimes a steaming cup of coffee. We talked about art, medicine, our hometowns. I was always relaxed, happy beside him. My world had never been so quiet. It was a silence I craved, and feared. I feared it might shatter like another beautiful illusion. Grant never came near me again. But I knew he had not left Paris. I could feel a cold gaze trailing me like a shadow. I waited for him to tire, to leave of his own accord. That afternoon Miriam asked me to deliver a painting to the Louvre. On the way back the sky split open in a downpour. I hadn't brought an umbrella and was trapped at the subway entrance. I was about to sprint into the downpour when an umbrella opened above my head. Startled, I turned and saw Shane's gentle face. Everett? The forecast said rain, I figured you'd forgotten your umbrella. He smiled, tenderness almost spilling from his eyes. My heart quivered. He walked me home beneath the umbrella. The rain was heavy, the wind strong. He tilted most of the canopy my way, soon his own shoulder was soaked. I glanced at his drenched shirt and felt a rush of warmth. Everett, the umbrella's leaning, I whispered. He looked down, then moved it even closer instead of straightening it. It's fine. I'm not cold. We were inches apart, our arms almost touching. I could feel the heat of his skin and the steady beat of his heart. Silence. The same reassuring quiet I'd come to treasure. At the apartment door I invited him up for hot tea and a dry shirt. He accepted. I found a clean shirt my father kept there. While he changed, I brewed ginger tea. When he emerged, I was clumsily trying to pour the scalding tea. My hand jerked, boiling water splashed toward my skin. Careful. Shane dashed over, pulling me away. His own hand took the brunt and flushed scarlet. Are you okay? I panicked, rushing his hand under cold water. I'm fine. He soothed me. As long as you weren't burned. I stared at the angry red on his skin, eyes stinging, tears nearly falling. No one had shielded me like that in a long, long time. Head down, I searched for burn ointment. Suddenly he embraced me from behind, gently. My body froze. Sophie, he murmured at my ear, voice almost a sigh, I'm in love with you. Sophie, I love you. From the first moment I saw you, I was lost. I know you've been hurt. I stayed cautious, afraid to scare you. But I can't hold back any longer. I don't want to wait. Sophie, give me a chance, please? For once I heard his th. Not through that cold gift of mine, but through the furnace of his chest and each sincere plea threatening to melt me. I couldn't bear it, I spun around and threw myself into his arms, sobbing aloud. Chapter 6. I said yes to Shane. We became a couple. Every day with him felt like bathing in honey. He memorized every preference, brewed brown sugar ginger tea when my period came, massaged my shoulders when work drained me. He doted on me until I felt like a pampered child. Best of all, his mind remained hushed, proof that one person on earth loved me without a single impurity. I believed my new life had finally begun. Then Grant showed up and shattered the calm. That afternoon Shane and I were strolling along the Seine when Grant materialized without warning. He looked worse than before, eyes bloodshot as if he hadn't slept in weeks. He glared at our clasped hands, gaze venomous. Hand in hand. How dare she find someone so fast? Sophie, how dare you? What am I to you? Sophie, he rasped, voice like sandpaper. Who is he? Instinctively I ushered Shane behind me and stared back coldly. Harrington, that's none of your business. None of my business? He stepped closer, sneering. I'm your fiancé. Ex-fiancé, I corrected. The word detonated his fury. He lunged to grab me. Shane blocked him at once. Harrington, control yourself. Who the hell are you? Get lost. Grant's eyes blazed, he swung at Shane. Shane! I shrieked. Shane sidestepped, brows knit. Harrington, violence solves nothing. My affairs with her don't concern you. Grant clutched Shane's collar like a mad beast. This punk, how does he deserve her smile, her hand? She's mine, always has been. His entitled ugliness turned my stomach. Enough. I shoved Grant away. Are you finished making scenes? I'm making scenes? Grant jabbed a finger at Shane and bellowed. You dumped me for this pretty boy, trashed 10 years of us, have you no heart? 10 years? I laughed in contempt. Grant, place your hand on why. Our heart and ask yourself, did you ever truly love me? He choked, his face paled. Love? Of course his silent voice jammed, he couldn't answer himself. I watched him and felt nothing but pity. You never loved me, I said, stripping him bare. You loved Vivian. You proposed only to give your devotion a respectable exit. You feared her return, feared she'd feel guilty if you were still single, so you rushed to marry someone, anyone, am I wrong? Grant's face drained of blood. He gaped, as though seeing a stranger. How could she know? I never told a soul. I met his shock with no triumph. Grant, stop lying to yourself. Let me go, and free yourself. I took Shane's hand, turned, and walked away without looking back. Chapter 7. I thought honesty would make Grant stop. How naive. He escalated instead. Crazed calls and texts flooded in. When I blocked one number, another appeared. The messages shifted from angry accusations to pleas, finally to nostalgic recountings of our decade together. He remembered my favorite wontons from the South Side Alley. He recalled my tears during every sad film. He listed every habit, every like. He claimed he couldn't live without me. Sophie, come back, please. I was wrong, really wrong. Only without you did I realize your worth. I truly love you now. I found the text sickeningly ironic. Belated affection is cheaper than weeds, and its sincerity dubious. I answered none. Seeing my distress, Shane silently pocketed my phone and whisked me off to Disneyland. In that fairy tale world of laughter, the gloom Grant cast momentarily lifted. We rode the carousel, watched the parade, kissed beneath fireworks. Shane gazed at me with liquid tenderness. Sophie, he said, when my fellowship ends, come home with me, will you? I met the earnest hope in his eyes and nodded hard. Yes. I thought happiness was already within arm's reach. But I'd forgotten, corner a dog and it'll jump the wall. The day after we got back from Disney Land, Shane received an urgent call. St. Louis needed him for a critical surgery, right away. He said goodbye like he couldn't bear to let go, told me to wait for him. I walked him down to the curb, watched the car pull off. But the moment I turned to go back inside, a black van screeched to a stop in front of me. The door slid open and 3 hulking men in dark suits hauled me inside without a word. "Who are you? Let me go." I thrashed in panic, but a cloth clamped over my mouth killed my scream. Just before the world went black, I caught sight of the driver, a face I knew better than my own. Grant. He watched me in the rearview mirror, eyes wild and possessed. "Sophie, I'm sorry. I can't lose you. Since you refuse to come back, I'll take you back. You're mine, and you always will be." Chapter 8. I woke on a soft king-size bed. This was Grant's hotel suite in Paris. The drapes were drawn, only one dim wall lamp glowed. Grant sat on the sofa beside the bed, swirling a glass of red wine, studying me. When he saw my eyes open, he set the glass down and came over. "Awake?" I pushed myself upright, every nerve on edge. "Grant, are you insane? This is kidnapping." "Kidnapping?" He laughed softly, the sound empty. "I'm simply inviting my fiancé home. At last you're speaking to me. These past days your silence has been driving me crazy. Sophie, don't be scared, I won't hurt you. I just want you beside me." Looking at him, I felt only strangeness and dread. "I'm not your fiancé," I snapped. "Grant, let me go." "No." The refusal was flat. He stepped closer, leaned down, gaze glittering with sick infatuation. "I'm never letting you leave again. Forget that pretty boy. We start over. In your dreams." I swung my arm and slapped him hard across the face. The crack rang through the quiet room. His head whipped sideways, 5 scarlet marks blooming on his cheek. Slowly he turned back, tongued the bruised skin, obsession twisting into a terrifying storm. "You hit me? For another man, you hit me? Sophie, what is your heart made of?" Suddenly he laughed, wild, unhinged. He seized my wrists and pinned me to the mattress. "Sophie, did you think I wouldn't dare touch you?" His face filled my vision, his breath reeked of alcohol. Danger prickled my skin, I thrashed with everything I had. "Let go. Grant, you psycho." "I am crazy," he roared, eyes bloodshot. "You drove me to it. I love you so much, why can't you see it? Why choose some guy you've known 5 minutes over me? 10 years. We have 10 years. I refuse to believe he matters more." He lowered his head, hot lips aiming for my throat. I squeezed my eyes shut, tears slipping down my temples. At that instant the door exploded inward. "Grant, get away from her." Shane's voice. My eyes flew open as he stormed in with officers behind him. Seeing us, Shane's eyes flamed crimson. He lunged and smashed his fist into Grant's jaw, knocking him to the carpet. "Bastard!" Shane snatched me off the bed, stripped off his coat, and wrapped it tight around me. I collapsed against him, trembling from head to toe. "Shane. It's okay, I'm here." His voice shook as he crushed me close. "You're safe now. I've got you." The cops yanked Grant up and snapped handcuffs around his wrists. Glaring at our embrace, Grant's gaze brimmed with venomous hate. "Shane, always you. Wait, I'll make you pay." Watching him dragged away brought no relief. I knew this wasn't over. Chapter 9. Grant was taken in for unlawful detention. The Harringtons wheeled heavy clout in France, he made bail within hours. But he was barred from leaving the country until the court summoned him. I became the complainant. Their lawyer approached me with an offer I couldn't refuse. If I dropped the charges, Grant would sign an immediate release from our engagement and pay a staggering settlement for emotional damages. Most important, the family guaranteed Grant would never approach me again. I agreed without hesitation. I wanted nothing more to do with him. I refused the money, I just wanted to vanish from his universe. Grant was present when I signed. He sat across from me, a shadow of himself after only a few days, gaunt, hollow-cheeked, hair unkempt, every trace of swagger gone. He simply stared, mute. "Sophie, do you really hate me this much? That eager to erase me? You won't even give me one chance to make it right?" I kept my eyes down and signed my name with steady strokes. From this day forward, Sophie and Grant were strangers. Outside the law firm, the sunlight felt harsh. Shane was waiting. When he saw me, he hurried over and laced his fingers through mine. "It's finished," he said. "Yeah." I smiled up at him. "It's finished." I thought it truly was. But as we started back toward the apartment, a runaway coupe screamed around the corner, heading straight for us. So fast we had no time to move. Through the windshield I saw Grant's face, frantic, despairing. "Sophie, if I can't have you, we'll both go to hell." Tires shrieked, people screamed. Shane hurled me out of the way, and the coupe slammed into him, flinging his body through the air. "Shane!" I shrieked, the world crumbling around me. Chapter 10. St. Louis. Your light glared for 8 relentless hours. I sat on the corridor bench like a puppet with its strings sliced, the image of Shane flying through the air on endless loop. Blood soaked his white shirt, dyed my whole world crimson. Why? Why wouldn't he let me go? Grant, do you hate me so much you'd torch every shred of hope I have? At last the door swung open. The surgeon pulled off his mask, exhausted, and told me Shane had clung to life, but a massive brain trauma had plunged him into a deep coma. He might wake tomorrow, next month, or never. My knees buckled, only the wall kept me upright. Grant was arrested on the spot for attempted murder. This time even the Harringtons couldn't save him. When I visited he sat behind thick glass in a prison jump suit, wrists cuffed, gaunt and hollow-eyed. At the sight of me, a spark flickered in the murk. Sophie. I said nothing, only stared, ice cold. I knew it, you still have me in your heart. That doctor, is he dead? It'd be perfect if he were. Then you'd be mine again. Listening to the venomous yet childish thoughts racing through his mind, I felt nothing but nausea. Grant. I lifted the phone, voice hard as ice. You wanted to know how I can hear the secrets in your head? He froze. I'll tell you right now. I looked straight at him and spoke each word like a hammer. Because I can hear the thoughts of everyone who doesn't love me. His pupils contracted sharply. From the night before our wedding, I could hear every lie you spoke and every thought that flashed through your mind. You said you loved me, but you were planning how to pick up your first love from the airport. You promised we could start over, while you schemed how to chain me to your side. You swore you loved me to madness, yet in your heart you wished Shane would drop dead. My voice kept rising, fury boiling over. Grant, you never loved me, not once. You love only yourself. Your so-called love is selfish, filthy, disgusting. He stared at me, the color draining from his face inch by inch. His lips parted, but no sound emerged. She can hear. She's always been able to hear. So every word I said, every move I made, was nothing but a joke to her. So that's how. Suddenly he laughed, tears streaming as he laughed like a madman, handcuffed fists pounding the glass. No, that's not. Sophie, it's not. I watched him coldly, ended the call, and walked away. Grant, your remorse means nothing to me. May the rest of your life be nothing but endless regret and agony. Chapter 11. Shane lay in a coma for 3 months. I never left his side. I bathed him daily, talked to him, read aloud his favorite medical journals. I believed he could hear me. I believed he would wake. Grant received life without parole. ID. Int attend the trial. I wanted nothing more to do with anything about him. Vivian came looking for me once. She cornered me in the hospital corridor. Impeccable makeup, designer dress, looking down her nose at me. Sophie, you sure are capable, look what you did to Grant. Happy now? I ignored her and tried to walk past. She blocked my path, refusing to let go. Don't get cocky. Even if Grant's locked up, you still get nothing. That doctor's a vegetable, you'll be stuck babysitting him for life. This bitch, if not for her, Grant wouldn't be like this. Grant is mine. No one can take him. Once I get him out, she's the first one I'll destroy. Looking at her twisted face, I found it almost laughable. Vivian, I said calmly, you probably don't know, Grant ended up this way because of you. She blinked. What do you mean? The night before the wedding he went to the airport to pick you up, afraid you'd crash the ceremony and inconvenience his getaway. Didn't know that, did you? Vivian's face went chalk white. You're lying. You know whether I am or not. I gave a cold laugh. You thought he loved you? He only loved the flawless moonlight in his imagination. The moment you came back, the dream shattered. He kept clinging to you because he couldn't stand the joke his obsession had become. You ruined his fantasy, he took it out on me, that's all. So don't parade around me anymore. In my eyes, you and he are just two pitiful clowns. With that, I stepped past her ashen face and walked into Shane's room. That afternoon, I read the news to him as usual. When a funny item made me laugh, I felt my hand twitch. I looked down, his fingers had curled slightly. My breath stopped. Trembling, I leaned close and whispered his name over and over. Shane. Shane. His lashes fluttered. Slowly, his eyes opened. Those gentle eyes I'd missed for so many nights gazed quietly at me. His lips parted, releasing the faintest, clearest syllable. So, Phi. Tears burst free. I collapsed at Hi's bedside and sobbed like a child. Shane, you finally woke. My light has returned. Chapter 12. Shane was awake. He was still weak, but his recovery astonished the doctors. They called it a miracle. I knew better. His fierce will to live and his love for me had dragged him back from the abyss. The first thing he did, with a hand still frail, was wipe away my tears. "Don't cry," he murmured. "I'm back." We simply stared, trying to reclaim the 3 months we'd lost. 6 months later he was discharged. We returned home together. He took me to meet his parents, kind, gentle elders who clasped my hands and said, "Thank you, child, for bringing our Shane back to us." We held a tiny wedding. No lavish venue, no throng of guests. Only family and closest friends. I wore a wedding gown Shane had designed himself and stood before him. Love overflowed from his eyes. "Sophie," he said, "I love you." I rose on tiptoe and kissed him. "I love you too. My world is quiet now. I know it always will be." Later I heard gossip about Grant. In prison his mind finally snapped. Day after day he mutters to the wall, "Sophie, I was wrong. Sophie, let me explain. Sophie, I love you." The Harringtons keep petitioning for compassionate release, each request is denied. He will spend his long, remorseful life inside those 4 walls. As for Vivian, after the Harrington empire collapsed she lost every sparkle and married a tycoon 20 years her senior. Her life is anything but happy. None of that concerns me. Shane and I settled in a small town south of the river. He opened his own practice, I opened a little art gallery. We adopted a cat and named her Peace. Because, like her master, she gives me a quiet, beautiful world. The sun is warm, the breeze gentle. I sit in the rocking chair inside the gallery, watching Shane treat a neighbor's child, and smile without noticing. My gift remains. I still hear the thoughts of passers-by drifting down the street. But I'm no longer afraid, no longer troubled. Because I know that when I turn around, I'll see the quiet harbor that forever belongs to me. That is enough. Thank you for listening to our story today. If you enjoyed it, please give us a thumbs up and share with friends. We look forward to reading your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more wonderful tales. See you next time.